Okay, so this is gonna be a weird video. There's not really any other way to start this video than that. I thought about it for a bit. This is a video that needs an introduction, and I have some very odd things to say that I hope a lot of you will understand and kind of resonate with. So this is about some dark brushes, dark, grungy, kind of scary, painful, emotional brushes. And for me, this is kind of a weird topic. I'm a Christian, and I know some of you may want to tune out at that statement, but talking about dark things and pain and stuff like that is kind of it's not a foreign thing, but it tends to be pushed to the side as like a lesser thing. But I think that without contrast, we lose perspective, and without perspective, we overreact and we lose hope. And there's a lot of things that happen to us that we need to be aware of. And so, in this, I'm going to be demonstrating some brushes. This is about brushes, but there's a story behind the brushes. So I've been through some dark, very dark times. And I know that when that darkness first showed up, that it was outside of me, right? And it was scary, and it was new, and there was all of this. I don't want to say mystery, like intrigue. It wasn't intrigue. It was just shadow, and I couldn't see what was coming, and it was horrid. It was horrid. And here, there's something I've learned through some of these different processes when we are afraid of exploring the darkness. And I don't mean like doing stupid things. I mean like when we're dealing with stuff that's scary in our lives. If we don't learn about it, if we don't find out things like, I mean, I have a 7-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old daughter, and the 7-year-old was scared of daddy long legs, and they're not especially dangerous spiders. In fact, they're not dangerous at all to humans, even though they're highly poisonous. They can't hurt us. And so there's this mystery. Yes, they're poisonous. Yes, they're a spider, but they're quite friendly. And we did this little experiment, and I held the spider, and it walked on my hands, and then I put it on her hand, and we gave it a name, and understanding what the spider was made it less scary. And there's situations in our life, like loneliness, like illness, like pain, like loss. There's these different things that when we kind of don't learn what they are, they're scarier. Pain is magnified with mystery. Pain is magnified when we don't know what's going to happen next. That's why if you prick yourself with a needle, it's less scary than if someone else is doing it and you don't know how far they're going to push, when they're going to do it, or any of those other details. So this is kind of a playground, something I wanted to do where it gives us a little bit of control of some scary things, and having a little bit of control of some scary things, understanding some scary things, coming to terms, accepting that there's gonna be scary things in our life, painful things in our lives, actually helps us cope with them in a very healthy way. All right, that's my little introduction. So here are the brushes. This brush pack is called Spirits, Wisps, Crawlers, and Shadows. This first one, I've put the very first one in this pack. Is a very simple but very nice, easy line brush, because I think it's important when you have a set of brushes that you know, okay, what am I going to do my general shapes with, my different outlines and stuff like that. And so this very first one, just lovely, wonderful brush. It's got some nice texture with a heavy push. You can get really deep, dark blacks. This one feels I want to say like it's like a little bit gooey, but it's, I don't know, it's nice. You'll play with it, you'll feel it. Okay, the second one is called Imaginary Friend. This one is called Imaginary Friend because there's a little line that just appears just barely, almost where you can't see it. It doesn't show up all the time. Some people may or may not believe it's there. I don't personally have any imaginary friends. All right, this next one is called Shrimp Vein. This one has, again, a little bit of that. Gooey is not the right word, but just smooth, almost butteriness to it. And there's a little faint line right in the center of this. Okay, this next one, I put a demo on the Discord of this. This one is one of my favorites. This one is called Withered Hand. And this has all sorts of gnarly textures and shapes. You can do these big splotchy, splatty shapes, and then you can go back in and draw these really thin lines with light pressure, add splats. And there's just a lot of interesting shapes, a lot of interesting dynamics to this brush that I really like. This next one is called Profanity. And it reminds me of old comic books I read when I was a kid. And you would see someone would be mad and they'd have a thought bubble, and the thought bubble would have what looked like these type of squiggly, smoky lines. This next one is called Tequila Dreams. And I named it that because it has a line in the middle that's a little worm-esque. Really very nice brush. This one is called Harmony. By the way, these brushes go between oils and watercolor. So here you see two lines that kind of do a bit of a dance together. There's some smokiness and grain in the background. I like that. This next one is called Two Minds. This one, there's a bit of a dance, but there's disunion. It's like it's coming from the same place, but it doesn't always work in step. Now, I like the randomness of this. And these brushes, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create organic brushes. Before I forget, what I'm using for these, I'm using HP01 hot pressed set at 25%. And then I'm using this color over here, which that number is not going to show up unless I hover it. DCDACF. All right, this next one is called Marriage. So here you see there's actually two lines, and they separate just a little bit, and then they come back together and become one. It's not the same thing. They're their own line, but there's two. All right, this next one is called Vapor. And here you have two faint watercolor lines with a soft, smoky line in the center. This is watercolor, so it diffuses out just a little bit. This next one I love. I think this one is just beautiful. This one is called Mountain Smoke. This is a watercolor brush as well. And there's a second brush shape in here that's very light, very opaque, and it creates water. And then the diffusion of the first brush fills that water out and creates this just wonderful, smoky, really fun shape, really nice line. So here you can picture a mountain in the background with just a few hints of a campfire, and just, I like it. I like it a lot. Diffuses very nicely. This next one is called Prego because I couldn't think of a safer word to express this one. This makes me happy, but it's got some like characteristics to it that are very wet, very I don't know, but Prego's a good name. Beautiful brush. I love, again, you've got these different layers to the watercolor. Diffuses out so nicely. You get these nice lines and these transitions where from thin to thick you've got this pull, very wet pull that happens during those transitions. It just, it does things to me that shouldn't be spoken about. There's certain things that do something, it's not sexual. It's like it's a similar thing. It doesn't get that reaction from me, but it has some sort of almost like you're tasting your favorite food, or getting a hug from someone that you wish was still there, or just it's like a deep level satisfaction. I'm a weird person, and this is okay. Sorry, I'm fine with that. This one is called Shattered Hope, and this is a splat brush. The idea with this one is to go over the same area a handful of times, and you can create some really fun. Fun's not the right word. These are aggressive shapes. But I like it's got a very random feel to it. All right, this one, that's Shattered Hope. This one, Shattered Hope, has wings. And this one has some different elements in the background. This has a background texture. That texture is built on the shapes inside of dragonfly wings. And I think that's beautiful. And so it creates these really nice, organic, unique patterns in the background with these wonderful splats and slashes and grittiness in the foreground. All right, this one is called Knobbed Goblin. So it has some round elements, some splats, just some really great organic. I like this. All right, this next one is called Guilty Crawler. This one right after I may remove Guilty Crawler 2. There's not a whole lot of difference here. All right, let's look at our last couple brushes. This is the Devourer. This is kind of this brush kind of spins and looks like it's eating everything that it comes near. Here's Whispered Shadow. Some of these brushes go over the top, some go under, and this one has a unique property. So this one is set at paint and mix 2, not at 1. And so what that means is that with heavy pressure, you're going to go underneath. So this is going to be, so that means that with heavy pressure, you're going to go underneath. You're going to be glazing. Then when you go from heavy pressure, you release a little bit of pressure, you're going to go over the top of that shape. So if you're doing kind of some smoky elements, you want to go behind and in front. You can do that with this. I like the way that you can kind of layer it with that push and pull of the stylus pressure. This next one will probably not make it. It's very similar. This one is set to 1 paint, which means that, well, let's leave that as it is. We'll go up here. That means that it's never going to go over the top. It's always going to go behind like a regular glazing brush would. This is Dragon's Web. This is a very complex kind of shadow smoky brush. It has that dragonfly texture in the back. It layers and splats in very random ways. This next one I think is very cool, very unique. This is called Forgotten Lands. It has this kind of Atlantis-like text that appears in the background. So let's go over here. Makes it easy to add some really mystical elements. This is a watercolor brush, so it diffuses out just a little bit, making it a little more worn and weathered looking. This one is Wisps. This one diffuses out as a watercolor brush, and so if you are painting in and you want to retain some of that structure, some of those lines, but have a watercolor diffused look, you can see here that those lines in the center are kept. Now, what's important with these type of brushes, the water level makes a big difference. So right now it's set at 13. If you bring this up to 99, 94, higher, this is going to diffuse and just fully fill out those shapes. And so we'll keep that at 13. You can adjust it at your own risk. There's not much risk. Okay, and this last one is called Marble Road. This is a very unique brush. This is a watercolor brush as well. And what this one is going to do is it's going to diffuse out but leave kind of this marbled texture, and just kind of a light and dark and almost fatty, marbly type of look. So I like that. It's a lot of fun. It gives some random splats on the outside. It's very interesting. All right, like I said, very weird video. These brushes are in the Discord channel, and they'll be on my website, tabletpro.com/rebelle. You can purchase them there. All right, and here's a couple fun brushes I will put on the Discord channel. All right, so here's the little fishies. We're happy. And then over here is our shark brush. Yum. 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 This one's actually a pretty cool brush. All right, I told you this was going to be weird. So which one of these brushes was your favorite? Was there one that kind of had a visceral response in you, like the Prego brush did for me, or like the Mountain Smoke? Something that just kind of does something visceral to you. I want to hear about that in the comment section. Please help me feel a little less weird. And actually, I'm okay. I'm content with being weird. It's fine. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Go check these brushes out in the Discord. Join that community there if you use Rebelle. 7 or any Rebelle software. That's a really fun community. A lot of people sharing different tips, sharing artwork, sharing inspiration. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do that right now. Until next time, stay creative and have a wonderful day.